Hello guys, my name is Sin, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Razer OROCHI V2. Actually this mouse has really shocked me. I did not expect it to like it this much. The mouse is also very small, surprisingly, and the thing about this mouse is its competitor is the Logitech G305, so it does get compared to the G305 a lot. Now, I have lost my G305, but I do have an egg-shaped mouse right here, so I can compare it to that. But let's get straight into the review. So first of all, I want to talk about the shape of this mouse, which is the most important thing of a mouse anyways. The shape of this mouse is surprisingly very good. It's also the smallest mouse I've ever used. You know, when I compare it to the Hottie S, which is also a very small mouse, as you can see here, the OROCHI is actually quite a bit smaller, and especially as you can see in the fronts flare a lot more in the OROCHI, which does make the mouse a bit smaller, and it's also quite a bit shorter. So like I said, the mouse is quite short. The hump is a bit more centralized and a bit to the back, and you guys know how important hump location is for me. It's like one of the reasons I cannot use the Razer Viper Mini, because where you place the hump is very important for someone who claw grips, and as I claw grip, you know, the hump location is very important for me. Now, my hands are 19 by 11. No, it's actually 18 by 11. About that size, you know, 18 and a half by 11. And this mouse, if you have large hands, you probably cannot use it. Huddled has 22 by 11 hands, and he just does not like this mouse at all, which is understandable because it's just going to get to the point where it's too small and you're going to start cramping. But my hands are like more medium size, and if you have smaller size hands, you can definitely use this mouse, and especially if you, you know, for fingertip or like for claw grip, this mouse is insanely good. Also, another unique feature of this mouse is, while it does look ambidextrous, this mouse is designed for people who have, you know, right hand use. As you can see on the left side of the mouse, there's like a bit more, you know, inward, there's like an inward curve where you're supposed to put your thumb on. And if you're left-handed, you don't get the same treatment, which is nice, I guess. You know, it does add extra comfort. It does add like a bit of ergonomics to the mouse. And I really like that they, you know, added this little curve here. There's a small caveat to this though, and I feel like they cut the curve off a bit too soon, which means that when I, you know, put my thumb on, I don't know how I can even show you guys this, but when I move the mouse, the fleshy part of my thumb kind of just gets stuck under here. And I do not know why that happens. Like, I sometimes notice it, you know, I'm playing games and shit, and I just suddenly notice that my thumb has, you know, entered this small part, and it's just getting run over by the mouse. But other than that, I don't have any issues with the shape of this mouse. It's very good. It's definitely my top 3 shape. You know, it's actually my top 3 mice. And, you know, when you're going against the XM1R or the Hottie S, you know, you have to be really good shape-wise to even match those mice. Now, I'm going to compare the Razer OROCHI V2 to the Logitech X shape. The OROCHI V2's shape is quite a bit different compared to the X shape, and when I bring them side by side, you can see the differences. The Logitech mouse is quite a bit, you know, longer, and the back hump is a bit more outward protruding, which fills your palm a lot more, and the sides flare in a bit differently, as you can see here. You know, the side on the OROCHI V2 is quite a bit more straight. And the OROCHI is kind of like a diamond shape, while the Logitech is more like of an egg shape. You know, that's why we call it the egg-shaped mouse. And yeah, that's about it for the comparisons. They're completely two different shapes. If you like the egg shape and you want to get the OROCHI V2 because you like the egg shape, you're going to be quite disappointed, but the OROCHI shape on its own is very good, and if it's a very solid contender for a top shape. And now that's the end of the shape topic and the whole fucking shape thing. And for shape, I would really give this mouse like a 9.5 out of 10, maybe a 9 out of 10. You know, ouch. It's a very solid shape, and I really like it. And now on to weight. So the Razer OROCHI V2 is around 64 grams with a battery, you know, a AAA battery, and it does have a battery. Sadly, it's not like a Razer Viper Ultimate or a Logitech G Pro X or a Superlight. You do have to change the battery. There's no way to charge this mouse, and that does add a bit of weight to it, as I'll show you right here. Let me pop off the tab. Now, weight-wise, you have 2 options. You can either put like a AA battery right here or a AAA right here, And what I've done is I have cheated the system. As you can see, I have put a AAA battery where the AA should go. Because in my opinion, I want to put the battery on, as close to the middle as possible so I can center out the center of gravity. Now, I have never tried the backwards AAA spot, and I do not want to either. It's just going to make the mouse back heavy, and I do not like my mouse back heavy. So yeah, I picked this off Amazon. There was like 4 of them for like $5 or some shit. It's not a lot. I would recommend you do this as well. It does lower the weight a bit, instead of using the AA battery that came with this mouse. And yeah, so around 64 grams. It's definitely not the lightest, but weight-wise, it's quite solid. Very, very solid shape. Okay, there you go. There you go. Get in there. And the weight balance, in my opinion, is really, really good. It's not perfect. I don't think it's perfect, but it's a lot better than the G305 if that's what you're wondering. Because when you include a battery into a mouse, it's gonna kind of shift the weight balance, and you have to design around that. And it seems like Razer has done a very, very good job making this mouse, light enough, and also the weight distribution quite well. Now, the thing about the weight of this mouse is 64 grams is actually very, quite lightweight. But since this mouse is very, very small, it does kind of feel a bit more on the heavier side of 64 grams rather than the lighter one. I would have loved to see a 50-gram Razer OROCHI V2 that gets, charged through a USB-C port or whatnot instead of using a battery. But, we can all dream. And in reality, this mouse uses a battery and is around 64 grams. It's a good weight. Now, on to the battery life. So actually, disappointingly, this when I got this mouse 2.5 weeks ago, I put in a brand new AAA battery, and while recording this fucking video, it died on me. So it lasted 2.5 weeks. I didn't use any sort of, low power battery saving mode, because why should I? I am a gamer. And as a gamer, I require the best performance I can get from my gaming mouse. And yeah, so yeah, it died on me, and 2.5 weeks is quite bad. I when I had the G305, that thing would last literally months. Like a solid 1.5 month. And yeah, I don't know if I fucked it up. Maybe the battery wasn't as new as I thought it was, but I did open the Duracell pack myself, so I truly don't know what happened there. I have replaced the battery, and I'm gonna see if it lasts another 2.5 weeks or not. So yeah, battery life disappointing now, and I'm going to be talking about the mouse feet. Now, the mouse feet is surprisingly very, very good. I have actually never tried, stock feet that was as good as the OROCHI V2s, which was a surprise, because when I had the Razer Viper Mini, I wanted to get those feet off as soon as possible. Whenever I get a new mouse, I want to get the feet off as soon as possible. But they came in very smooth. They came in almost broken in. You would have to just go to your desk and kind of just see if you can break them in yourself as fast as possible, because normally it would be very, very scratchy. It was quite the opposite. These came in very, very smooth. They're still very, very smooth. They're very, very impressive mouse feet. I have said very, very a lot, but as you can see from my usage of the word very, very, I am very, very impressed. Now, onto the sensor. As you can see, this mouse uses a Razer optical 18K sensor, which is a good sensor. I have no issues with it. I think the liftoff distance is a bit high. You can lower it down to like 1 millimeter in the software, but then it's still, it isn't a 3370 liftoff distance wise. However, you're not going to have any issues with this. It's a good sensor. It's actually a very, very good sensor. When you compare it to the Razer Viper Mini sensor, which was fucking awful, this sensor is very good. Now, for the nerds who care about sensor location, as you can see, the sensor location is quite a bit more higher up on the Razer OROCHI V2, which is quite cool, because when I put my thumb, it comes like let me just fully grip the mouse. It comes exactly where the sensor should be, and it just gives me extra control. So sensor location on this mouse is a muy bueno. Now, onto the clicks. I actually have to turn off RTX voice for this section because it keeps fucking it up. But these clicks are KL GM 4.0s. They do not use the Razer optical switches that they did. They're using normal switches, which is cool. the switches itself are fine. It's just that the shell is, connected. So the clicks aren't the best in feel. They're an average clicking experience, but I would expect more from KLGM 4.0s. But sadly, due to the shell, you're just not gonna get, a KL clicking experience with it. I'll let you have a listen. And here's the side buttons. And then the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel is a scroll wheel. It's a stepped scroll wheel. Honestly, I have no issues with it. I played games with it. I played shit like Counter-Strike where you need to bunny hop. I've swapped weapons with it. It works as a scroll wheel. Also for day-to-day use. There's no issues with it. It's just decent clicks. Yeah, basically that's it for the clicks. The side buttons also have no pre or post travel. They're solid side buttons. Quite crispy. And a bit too small in my opinion, but compared to the size factor of this mouse, they do fit well. I can easily click them. Now onto the price of this mouse. I bought this mouse for 70 quid, which is around $90, which is a bit more expensive than the US version, which is around $70. $70 for a mouse this good is a steal in my opinion, especially since it's wireless, and a lot of wireless mouse tend to do cost a lot more. But when you compare it to the G305, which is $35, this mouse is twice as expensive, which does put the G305 better in the budget section. And if you're low on money, let's say, the G305 does seem like a better option. Maybe this mouse should have been around $60. I'm not too sure. Also, speaking of money, as you can see, how the backplate can come out. Okay, I fucked up the thing once. Okay, anyways, now that we're back, as you can see, when you take off the shell, you can buy a new version of the shell, which is, custom design and whatnot. But the thing is, it costs $20. They're literally charging you $20 for this fucking shell, but painted on. And that's absurd in my opinion. It should be at least like 10, at most 15, because you're charging for a plastic piece that you're painting on. Yeah, and that's pretty cool. I guess you can swap out the top shell for customization and whatnot. And yeah, budget wise, $70 is not gonna break a lot of people's banks. However, if you're looking for a more budget version of this mouse, you should just go for the G305, which is a worse version of this mouse anyways. This mouse is better shape as well. Now, wrapping up this video, this mouse is very, very good. It is wireless. The fucking feet are insane. You do not have to buy a cable for it, right out of the box. You can use it without having to spend extra dollars on custom mouse feet and whatnot. So, and the shape is also really, really good. It's definitely in my top 3 favorite. Might be either top 2 or top 1. I just have to decide on it after I use it for a couple more months, swap back to other mice and see. But honestly, I'm having a lot of fun with this mouse, and I'm pretty sure people here who have medium to small hands are going to definitely love this mouse, so make sure to check it out. Like, subscribe, and peace. Oh, and by the way, the reason that I didn't get a white one is because Amazon's fucking horrible, and it's going to take them 2 months to send me a white one, and I'm not going to wait 2 months for a mouse, so I just got the black one.